Ladies and gentlemen, take a look at your surroundings. Everything that's around you. You hear a vibrating phone. I promise it's not mine. It's your phone. Who's texting you? It's your dad. He says, go to the shop. We're out of milk. Oh no, we need milk. So you go to the shop and you take a shortcut through the woods. Oh, you're stepping on branches. Don't step on dog poo. You take another shortcut in the woods. You're less familiar with a shortcut. You walk back out onto the main road. Something that's a little bit different, a little bit askew. The cars are pink. Donald Trump was never president. He was instead the voice of Mickey Mouse in all of the movies. Goofy was voiced by Joe Pesci. Give me that in the real world, ladies and gentlemen. You've entered the silly dimension. Wait! Oh, fuck me. Pulled everything off my desk.
You didn't hear it. You didn't. It just went. Ah, that was it.
Is my mic still fucked?
No, you're good.
Yes. Oh, I didn't hear what you were saying because no earphones, but that was a wholly enjoyable experience for me. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome.
So, Falcon.
Yeah, this is a bumper episode. We missed last week.
Welcome to the Silly Dimension.
This is a bumper episode of the Silly Dimension. We took a week off because it was Wrestlemania week last week, and as a pro wrestling fan, it kicked the shit out of me, I'm not going to lie to you. It ruined me. So we're here for a bumper 2-part review special of episode 3 and 4 of Falcon and the Winter Soldier. So we'll just jump into it. So episode 3, how did episode 3 begin again? So I meant to watch it this morning.
We ended the episode 2 one by saying we wanted episode 3 to just be a bottle episode in the prison, just Sam and Buckley and Zemo having a face-off, which we didn't really get at all, to be honest.
There was very little build-up to Zemo's escape. Although, I'll tell you one thing, I did not see Sam and Bucky breaking Zemo out and Zemo actually being helpful.
I did not see that coming. Yeah, I did not see that coming.
No, I thoroughly, but I won't lie. Every time we've said I would like to see this thing happen, and even though it was a totally different way, it's always entertaining. So they're in the prison and they're talking to Zemo, and I don't know. It's so awkward, that first scene, but also like really funny. I found, because like it's very awkward with Sam, and then Bucky's just. I don't know. I found Sebastian Stan really funny in this scene. I don't know why. And then obviously he talks as they leave after telling Zemo that there's at least 8 super soldiers out there and he wants rid of them because he's all nuts. Bucky starts explaining the escape plan to Sam as we see it pan out in real time with Zemo, which is
a very good trope in film. I love it.
It's great. It's very. I'm trying to think of like one that did it seriously, with the only one that's cut. And I know that almost every heist movie explains the plan as we watch it happen in real time. But to me, whenever I think of that, I think about Shaun of the Dead. I don't know, we're not seeing it play out in real time, but it's one of those things. The way they present it at first makes it seem like Bucky's going over the plan, and they're showing us it like they do in like Shaun of the Dead or something. And then Zemo just shows up at where they're hanging out.
He just rocks up. I love his coat, man. Absolutely love his coat.
So good, man. The costume design for him is amazing.
It really is. And I feel like they've given him kind of the Thor treatment a wee bit, because in Civil War he was all very serious and really the Winter Soldier must die and all this. And so for him to now just be like, yes, I will get my private jet to fly us to Eastern Europe so we can track down super soldiers together, buddies. Haha. It's really good. Really good.
Because that's the thing as well, because he was so like serious and because he was the way he was the first time we meet him. Every time he is doing this, it's sort of met with like an underlying current of like he's up to something. But every time we think he's up to something, he pulls through. Well, in this episode at least.
Which is strange.
Every time it looks as if, you know, the plan's gone wrong, but right for him, he always pulls it back and saves the day in this episode, which I really liked. So they end up finding out there's chatter on, where was it again? Somewhere out like off coast of Africa, I think they said, that used to be like a pirate colony. And now it's just a lawless wasteland where all the criminals of the world go and hang out.
What's the place called? Begins with M. Oh, fucking idiot now.
Yeah. Oh, what is it? The only pirate colony that's coming to mind is Libertalia. Madripoor, yeah. The only pirate colony that's coming to mind for me is Libertalia, and that probably didn't exist. So.
Havana.
No, Nassau. Havana was like the centre of English rule. No, Spanish rule.
Oh yeah, so it was.
Yeah, Nassau was
just a Black Flag again, man.
Yeah, Nassau was just a bit of a lawless wasteland. But yeah, so they go out there and they get all dressed up in their criminal attire.
It's very cyberpunky. It's very like
it's very
a lot of the soul scene from Black Panther. Like it was very like bleeding edge stuff.
Really, really nice looking though. But my favourite bit of this is Sam. Is it the Cobra or the Viper or something he's known as, or when Sam's dressed up, he's got like a.
Oh yeah, it's like Striking Viper or something.
No, Striking Vipers is the episode of Black Mirror that stole my joke from when I was 15.
Oh, okay.
Because I remember being 15.
Oh yeah, Striking. That's the No Homo episode, isn't it?
Yeah, because it was. I was like 15 or something when like VR was popping off and like PSVR was announced, and I turned around to my pals in school and I was like, man, how funny would it be if, you know, years down the line VR technology's caught up and we're like fully immersed, and you're just in there and you're playing a game with a homie and he's looking kind of thick, he's looking kind of cheeked up. Would it be weird if you fucked him? And then Fast forward to 2019, Black Mirror made an entire like hour-long fleshed out concept of you just beating the homie's cheeks in VR.
It was this such a strange. I watched that episode of that season and I didn't watch the rest of it. I was like, okay, that's enough.
That's honestly one of my favourite episodes of Black Mirror because it makes me like it's very well done and it is very, but like it's one of those ones though that like it's so well done, but I imagine the only people who will watch that for what it is will be like people like our Moz age. Because people like our age will be like, man, you're just fucking the homie in VR. Like that's all that episode is. All that episode is to me.
It's just memes.
Yeah, I just laugh so hard at the concept of it. But whatever Sam's criminal nickname is, fuck it, he is Striking Viper. Zemo's got him dressed up in like a funky shirt and like big chains and shit, and he's like, it's a little bit racist.
Yeah, my man's was dripping. My man was actually dripping.
Someone needed a mop just falling
that
around.
Suit, I want that suit. At least the blazer anyway.
So he was dressed up in like mad patterns and like chains and shit. And Sam just turns to Zemo and he's like, "Is this not a little bit racist?" And he's like, "No, because you're meant to be this guy."
Oh yeah, because he's like, "Why am I the one who looks like a pimp?" So yeah, I don't understand that anyway. Zemo looks like a pimp. Have you seen the jacket the man's
wearing? Zemo does look a bit like a pimp, but a more understated pimp.
I think if I saw them in the street, I would think Zemo was the pimp and Bucky and Sam were his pimpies.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm not, should I say that? Should I say it? Fuck it, imagine getting a honey after the robotic arm. That's where we are. We're like 4 minutes in.
I mean, surely that would just mash it.
Surely there's grip settings.
Surely that's not... It's going to be cold. That's going to be cold.
Listen, I didn't say it would be an enjoyable experience. I just said imagine it.
True. Okay, I'm imagining it.
There we go.
Oh.
So then, yeah, they get, like, is it like bikes or... Yeah, bikes show up and they get in a car or some shit, and they're escorted to the underbelly of Madripoor, and end up in a. And like Bucky as well. Bucky's not dressed up. He's just going full Winter
Bucky's
Soldier.
Winter Soldier, yeah.
And,
well, I suppose he is in a way.
Yeah, but Zemo's like, don't talk. I will talk to you in Russian. You got to play it up.
We can like.
And they're like, and if anyone
comes,
comes,
still the Winter Soldier.
Yeah, and he's like, and if anyone comes for us, you've got to turn it on. And anyway, they get to the bar, and there is a guy who starts on Bucky in the bar, and he just fucks up like 8 people, and you can just see in Zemo's eyes, he's like, go for the Winter Soldier, do it, I dare you, do it. But they get there, and they start chatting away to this woman who knows everything that's going on. And she informs them. Well, first of all, we find out there's the head of Madripoor, the head of the criminal underbelly of the MCU, is a guy called the Power Broker. And I must say, all the bad guys, all the antagonists within this show so far have chose pretty whack names.
100%, yeah. Flag Smasher.
Flag Smashers is whack. The Power Broker is whack. That shit whack.
Yeah.
But she informs them that there's a scientist who's been chefing up the super soldier serum for the Power Broker, and the Flag Smasher stole it from him while he was in the process of making a big old batch. So then as they're leaving, or before they leave, a hit's put out on them because someone's worked out they're actually not there for criminal reasons. That is indeed.
Well, it's because Sam gets a phone call for his sister.
That's it, yeah.
He has to like play it off in front of them all, and he's just like, "Yeah, I laundered so much money." She's like, "Can you remember to do the laundry?" He's like, "Yeah, I'll launder all that money."
It's so good as well. And she's like, "Sorry, I've not spoke to you since the bank." He's like, "Yeah, that bank we robbed."
And then she's like, okay, whatever, Sam. And everybody's just like, fuck.
But yeah, so then like a hit gets put out on them, and someone saves the day, and it's I've got something in my eye.
I wasn't expecting her to show up this way, to be honest.
Yeah, I did not.
It would have been more. I thought it would have came in earlier with like when the US soldier got like, or when I suppose Walker got the shield or something. But I suppose this works. I
thought she was going to come in this episode, especially after the start, but I didn't think it was going to be like this. I thought she was going to be head of the task force to bring back Zemo because Walker's focused on the super soldiers, and she knows them. She's like close with them, and obviously was close with Steve. So I thought, but then turns out no, Sharon Carter is there in Madripoor, just selling stolen art to get by, because after the Battle of Wakanda, Steve and Sam, they were unlisted as enemies of the state, but Sharon wasn't. So Sharon is still on the run, not on the run, in a country where she can't be extradited because she's got no other choice. And this is, like we say, every episode deals.
I mean,
with...
to be fair, like she's done quite well for herself.
Oh yeah,
she's went to a pirate bay essentially with no money, no connections, no nothing, and is now selling stolen art for hundreds of thousands of dollars. Like they're playing.
No,
she's
Queen.
Well,
Queen.
100%.
But yeah, so like every episode sort of dealt with like quite ropey themes. Every episode had like a moment where it just makes you uncomfortable as a viewer, which you didn't think Marvel would go for, especially being Disney and like, oh, America saves the day. And then there's been a lot of times this season where they've like, actually, America has just kind of made it worse.
Ruined a lot of things.
They've actually made it infinitely worse. And this was one of them, because we find out that pretty much Sam and Steve being brought back into the fold, and the US government saying they're no longer enemies of the state, was all performative, because they were there that one time in that one country fighting that big purple guy. Whereas Sharon, who was with them, has just been forgotten because no one knows who she is.
She's not some superhero. She's not some...
Yeah. So she's just a person.
Some lass. Yeah.
So there was like... there was bits in this episode where like Sam's saying that like, if if she helps them heal, like speak
He'll
to
try
someone.
and, yeah.
But she just like breaks off. She's like, bullshit, stop, because you can't. You don't have the power. You just got it back because you're famous. And you can see that, like, I mean, over the episode she softens up, but like at the start you can just see that it's actually like breaking Sam's heart that Sharon's this. I mean,
The
justifiably
acting
so.
every week is amazing. It blows me away every week.
Oh yeah, it's really good.
Especially when what we'll talk about at the start episode 4, but like,
So after they spend the night at Sharon's, and she somehow got clothes for all of them that fit perfectly. Although that turtleneck that Sam put on, my man's was respectfully busting out that shit. Respectfully, my man's was ripping through that. So I believe that belonged to Sharon. I believe that was hers.
she just gave him one of her turtlenecks and was like, let's just see what happens.
Yeah, but everyone else managed to find clothes that fit them perfectly in Sharon's. And then Sam was like, there's nothing left for me, I guess I'll just take this turtleneck. Also, what I found really weird is how her wardrobe was just, well, not that her wardrobe was on exclusively like on like racks, but it was just in the living room.
Yeah. I've seen actually a few people start to do that, and I'm like, that's just weird.
She had like 3 or 4 racks of clothes in the living room, and like a jacket one, fair enough. I'll accept that.
Yeah.
But Sam's just going on, and he's like, let me get some jeans off of this, and let me grab a turtleneck off of this one.
What if you're just walking about with a cup of coffee and you just spill the coffee over like your entire really shirt?
Yeah, you fucked
like,
it. But yeah, no. So Sharon in her weird house with her real wardrobe just in the living room. So they're all kind of chatting about going after the scientist, Dr. Nagel.
Which is such a strange name. But they keep coming up with like, they've given us like Ralph Boner, Richard Nagel, literally Dick Nagel.
Was it not Wilfred Nagel?
I thought it was Richard. It could be Wilfred, which is even worse.
Yeah, like, why can't the scientist be called like James Smith?
Why can't the scientist be called like Marie Curie? Just, throwing one out there for the ladies.
Solidarity with my women. Kevin Feige.
Exactly, with my
Kevin Feige writing this episode, going like, you know what'll be good. But yeah, so they find out that he's got a lab in a shipping yard, and they're going to go find him. So they go there and look through all these shipping containers, finally find the one, and it's got an underground bit, it's got a whole thing, because obviously it's not just inside.
That's a really cool base.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
In a shipping container, and then just like in the big fucking complex of them, there's just like...
It reminded me, did you watch The Gentleman?
Wow, that's mad. Yeah.
It's like, when Matthew McConaughey's like selling his hash empire, and like every one of them has just a shipping container on the grounds with a lab underneath. It was class. I absolutely love that film. Although I heard someone say, I was going to go see it, and then someone was like, Jake Paul's on the soundtrack, and I was like, that's going to ruin my enjoyment. Then COVID happened, and I didn't get to see it. And then I watched it on Prime, and Jake Paul was not on the soundtrack. Or if he was, I didn't hear him.
I didn't hear him.
Yeah, because I remember seeing it pop up on my YouTube that like he had something to do with it. So that's upsetting. But no, love that film. Anyway, yeah. So he's in the big mass of shipping containers, and it's just Sam and Bucky that go in, isn't it?
Zemo comes in.
I thought, I've got it in my head that he blew the side of it up.
Who, Zemo?
Yeah.
Zemo shot the dude.
Yeah, I'm remembering that now, but like it's been like 2 weeks since I saw it, and I'm on my WrestleMania sleep deprivation.
It was somebody from the outside that blew it open, but it was your man Zemo that shot.
Right, he did shoot him, because I knew that he died, and I also just in my head had it that Zemo kabloomed it from the outside, and then that's what fucked him up. Because that would,
it would, yeah.
But so they go in and they're getting the information out of him, and this is when he reveals that he's made like 20
Something like that. Or there's at least there's more of it
Yeah.
that Carly has.
Yeah, I think he said he made a batch of 20-ish that's been stolen by the Flag Smashers. And then we see on the outside as well, Peggy's like keeping an eye out.
Peggy's doing it. She's taking out anybody that gets too close.
And
Peggy, Sharon, what's it, Peggy?
Oh man, it's getting too silly over here. But see as well, like the fighting on the outside. I know we'll go back to it, but we specifically the hand-to-hand combat choreography in this has been amazing. But these last two episodes have been absolutely incredible.
Oh yeah,
like the fight in the shipping yard was amazing. I've just really been enjoying it. So Zemo's in there.
It's obviously they're using characters and stuff that not in this fight, for instance, because this was just all normal people that were fighting. But especially when you've got fights with like the Flag Smashers and stuff, even though it's John Walker or Lamar or whoever going against them, just normal people, it still feels like these people are trained, they're skilled, they're doing what they should be, and it's really fun to watch.
And I love as well. I've always loved it. I love when Falcon gets in a fight and he uses the wing to clothesline someone.
Yeah.
There's no need for it, because every time he does it,
it's incredible. Yeah.
Because he never does it to someone who's like 6 feet away that he can't reach with his arm. It's always someone that's right next to him, and he could just hit them.
He could just punch the guy, but he's like, nah.
But he's like, bang. But yeah, no, the fight here was class. But before, as we mentioned, Zemo just shoots up my boy Wilfred, or Richard.
A gun gets dropped on the ground. I can't remember how the gun gets dropped on the ground. But then Zemo just picks it up and just straight up shoots the guy, completely unprompted.
But he reveals that that Carly was looking to save someone called Doña Madani, who earlier on in the episode we've seen Carly next to someone in a bed who's very clearly sick and dying, and she's crying her eyes out. So then we sort of put two and two together. Zemo shoots him, big old fight in the shipping yard, and it's great. It's from the minute that Zemo shoots him to the getaway is class.
Yeah.
So now they get back on Zemo's private jet, because he obviously has got a private jet. Yeah, and they then find out who Donya is, and
I can't remember what country it is.
It's Riga. It's in Latvia. Yeah. And they fly his jet out to Riga to put two and two together, to work out what's going on, to try and find Carly, to talk her off the ledge, pretty much.
I think this is getting into episode 4 now.
But no, but pretty much nearing the end of the episode, because it ends with them in Riga. Because the Dora Milaje are in Riga. Yeah.
Oh, yes.
So before we get to Riga, we see Carly and the Flag Smashers they found out a GRC building, the Global Repatriation Council, which is who they got all the beef with. And, I mean, it's fair enough.
Until she blew up the car, I was like, you know what, you're doing the right thing. You're on this. And then she blew up the car and killed people, and I was like, that's a bit much.
Yeah, so they robbed a GRC building, and then as they were leaving,
not even robbed it, but took medicine and stuff that they're going to give to people who actually need it. So again, they're doing good stuff, but it's just
and then a car that was outside blows up that Carly hadn't informed the rest of the Flag Smashers about, and I think they said 3 dead, 11 injured through it.
Yes.
But that's the thing. The writing of Carly seems quite inconsistent to me, because in the next episode, she's so in the next episode, I totally forgot that she just blew up that car, and in the next episode, I was like, "You're fighting you're doing the right thing here."
Yeah.
But we'll get into that when we get to episode 4. But before the episode ends, Zemo, Falcon, and Bucky, don't know why I call them Falcon. Zemo, Sam, and Bucky were walking around Riga, and Bucky notices something. And he goes, "I'll meet you there. Just give me a minute. I'm going to go for a walk, clear my head." I'm like, okay, cool, whatever. And he picks something up off the floor. And then he says, "I wonder when you were going to show up." And there is one of the Dora Milaje. I
think her name's Io.
Io, yeah. and it's real that the Wakandans have come for Zemo after they broke him out, and that was how that episode ended. So, thoughts on episode 3? I loved it.
I thought it was great. It was probably like nothing incredible happened. Obviously, Zemo and stuff broke out, but there was nothing that like episode 1. Obviously, US agent got the shield. Episode 2, they have like their first actual like fight with the Flag Smashers and stuff. Nothing major happened in this episode, but it built up a lot of stuff that then gets paid off in episode 4.
Especially as well because every episode up to this point had like a big, massive like sequence that sticks with you. And I know obviously they had that really cool fight in the shipping yard, like Bucky fucked up all those people in the bar. But you know, there wasn't much in this episode. Obviously, the first episode had like Sam taking out like saving your man from Batroc, and it had like the flashback to Bucky killing all those people in the hotel. And then even like it had the stuff like Bucky planting a bug in the Senator's car in the first episode. It just had like a lot of cool world building that was also big like set piece moments. And then episode 2 had the fight like on the 2 lorries and shit. And then all like the build up with Walker getting the flag and like Walker's backstory. And in this episode, there are a lot of world building.
We had the interview scene in 2 as well, which even though that wasn't like even a big set piece, it does. We're spoke about that for like 10 minutes.
Yeah, exactly. It's one of those things that like either big action set pieces or big narrative set pieces, things that like stick with you as talking points. This episode didn't have a lot of that because, I mean, Zemo's escape was done brilliantly, but
it was quick.
Yeah, it's not an afterthought, but like it was very quick. It was over and done. Yeah, it was like we've got a story to tell. We need Zemo out of prison. Sam's explaining the plan to Bucky to get Bucky on board with it, and then we find out actually Sam has somehow communicated this plan to Zemo when they're in or no, Bucky. Yes, I mean, he's actually communicated the plan to him. He's got it all worked out, and he gets out. But up until like the last minute, because as well, like I think as well the Flag Smasher, like Carly blowing up that car, it's not glossed over, but it's there and it's done. Because they're putting all this stuff together for the next episode.
I don't even think we really get like the Flag Smasher's opinions on that. We get like one guy that's in the car being like, "Yo, what happened?" And then Carly's like, "We have to do this," and then that's it.
Yeah,
and it's like you what? These people have consciences. They are people. Like they show us their reactions to their leader just killing people.
So yeah. So I mean, I really like that episode. But as we said, it was just there to move not just there to move the story along, but a lot of what it did was move the story along for a big episode in episode 4. Kind of like the
first few episodes of WandaVision, yeah, before episode
I was going to say the episode of WandaVision where her and Agatha go through her life.
Oh, yeah. Fair.
Yeah, it's not a bottle episode because none of WandaVision
stuff still happening.
But like it very much it set us up for something big to happen, and then it took us back, but kept reminding us that something big was coming, and that's what this episode done very well. So episode 4 kicks off with a flashback to Wakanda.
This scene was
unbelievable.
The acting in it was so good, man. Sebastian Stan.
He's amazing.
Give that man a rate.
So yeah, they're there in Wakanda, and Bucky is there without his arm. He's only got one arm. And what I loved as well, and I'll talk about it later, but the shit with his arm, something that comes up later.
Yeah.
And it's so anyway, you see Io, who's the Wakandan soldier who we saw at the end of the last episode, and she's out by a fire in the Wakandan countryside with Bucky, and she's asking him if he's ready, and he's like, "I don't know, but we need to try." So then she grabs a note. She just starts. She's not even reading it. No, she's just rhyming it off, and she starts rhyming off the trigger words for the Winter Soldier. The words that made Bucky go from, "Hey, what's going on? Why have I got a metal arm?" to, "Oh, cool, you want me to kill John F. Kennedy? I'll do it."
No problem.
Not a bother me. There we go. Where is he? I'll find him. And what I really liked here is you see Bucky as she goes through the list. There's something that's happening with him, and at first I thought, is he fighting it? But then I realised he's actually like crying because he's not sure if he has been deprogrammed yet. and then we
He's
find
not
out
sure what's actually going to happen.
yeah. So it looks like his face kind of starts tensing, and a part of me thought, is he becoming the Winter Soldier? But in reality, it was just the fact that he was so scared that he might still be deep down, and it was absolutely incredible. We find out he's no longer the Winter Soldier, and she calls him the White Wolf, which I liked. So I don't think he's been
Very
officially referred to as a White Wolf before that.
Once, I think, in when is it you see him in Wakanda? Is it the Black Panther after credits?
Is it not the? Is it not Civil War after credits where Steve drops him off?
Well, yeah, that's when he drops.
I say drops him off.
When T'Challa walks up to him, gives him the arm, and Bucky's like, "Where's the fight?" And he's like, "It's coming." Was that the after credits of Black Panther?
Yeah,
because I'm sure he gets called the White Wolf then.
Yeah, I think it is. Yeah, when he's out working the farm.
Yeah,
with,
he's just
with,
been like a shepherd or something with his one arm.
He's out. I think he's on. Can't remember his name, but it's Daniel Kaluuya's farm.
Yeah.
Daniel. That's my one to bring up one gripe about a movie that was released in 2017. I don't like how they just completely erased the fact that Nakia and Okoye are a couple just so T'Challa could have a love interest. Because Black Panther functions the same with or without him having a love interest, except for the whole did he freeze, and that bit. I will admit though, it's a really fucking cool bit when oh my god, is it Nakia or Okoye? I can't remember, but the one who's married to Daniel Kaluuya, when he sides with Killmonger, and she's like, "Well, I'm gonna have to fuck you up then." That's a cool bit, but apart from that, they function the same. Anyway, where were we? Oh, so we just got past him getting deprogrammed, and then we cut to modern day Riga, and they're having a conversation about, what's going on, and her and the Wakandans are very unhappy about
prison.
Yeah. No mention of T'Challa though. Officially, I thought maybe they could use this to set something up. Maybe not explain it off.
I thought they were going to say, like, we can't have Zemo roaming about right now after what's happened to T'Challa. Just give us, like, a line like that, where, like, we know something's happened in universe, and then they can explain it later. But we never even got it.
Yeah, I think, because I don't want the explanation of what's happened in universe to just...
In Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I don't...
No.
Yeah, it needs to be its own thing.
But... I mean, even if it could happen here, I didn't want it to be here when the focus is very clearly on Zemo. But as you said, if they could just go, Zemo's dangerous. We know what he's like, and after everything that's been happening recently, we cannot afford that. We can't even entertain the possibility of him being on the other side of the world. But they just totally glossed over it. They talked about him killing T'Chaka and stuff like that. And Bucky says, "Look, he's a means to an end. Just you've got to trust me on this. Give me 8 hours." She's like, "Well, 8 hours, then we're coming for him." So then, they then go back to. They've got a nice big gaff they're hanging out in.
They do have a really nice place, actually. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's one of Zemo's.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, it is because he mentions later on in the place where the Flag Smashers are set up that he used to visit Riga as a boy and go to nice restaurants and stuff.
Oh.
So it's probably his. And as we get in, Bucky explains that the Wakandans are in Latvia, and they've got one chance at this, or they're coming for him.
Yeah.
So it's then just pretty much straight in. There's no. I mean, I was going to say there's very little fanning about in this episode.
There really, yeah. There's no useless scenes or anything. Everything has a purpose.
Yeah, so
everything.
We get the bit of is it here where Carly and someone else they're at a graveyard and they've got where they've stashed the serum.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, so they're in this graveyard where they've stashed the serum, and one of them's watching the news with the most lifeless news anchor I've ever heard. That kind of took me out at the moment because the guy's just there the terrorist organization known as the Flag Smashers have blown up a building.
Man's been a journalist for a year and he thinks he's all right.
No, but I mean, you watch news on the TV, and there's like it's not like it's read out by like the fucking Google text to speech.
There's a bit of personality. Aye.
Aye, and there was something they said as well that was like a grammatical error, and I was like, you'd get fucking slaughtered for that in David McKinney's class, Shabam.
You would.
But aye, so they're there, and then Carly, she's talking to the guy who like says is this the guy that's there when he says he wanted to be Captain America when he grew up?
Yeah, that's this bit. Yeah.
Yeah. So they find like the bag of all the serums, and they have
under
leftovers.
a rock next to this guy's headstone.
Yeah, it was his granddad's.
Yeah,
Because
granddad like fought in World War II or something. And,
Yeah, I think, and he said it was like next to his granddad's grave, and he talked about like when he grew up he wanted to be Captain America, but then he realised that he realised that it was more than a symbol and he didn't stand for the people. Pretty much just furthering the Flag Smasher message. Yeah. And then we see that Carly has the big bag of serums. So then it's the three of them go to the Flag Smasher sort of setup.
They go to well, it's just like to me it sounded like a refuge or something.
Yeah, like a camp where they've like set up with everyone, and they start walking around asking questions, and everyone's just ignoring them because they all
not even just that. As soon as they
like actively walking away from them,
they're just being like, "Nah, fam, bye."
Yeah. So like Sam has a conversation with that guy, and I can't remember what the guy says to him, but it is really that makes it. Yeah,
they asked him like 6 months ago, and he's still waiting.
Yeah. And you just kind of more world building on the fact that I think that this is when we find out that when people got blipped back, anyone who was living in the houses that became free during the blip were evicted.
They were kicked out, which is horrendous. Like,
yeah, which is absolutely horrific. Everyone came back. Because that's one of the things I like. But you know that Marvel like thought of this beforehand because Falcon and the Winter Soldier was written and in the can. Well, not in the can, but it was like written and ready to go before Endgame was done, or it was like being written alongside it. So you know that this isn't like a reaction to everyone on the internet going, that must have been a fucking nightmare, like Zack Snyder did with after Man of Steel. Because everyone went, excuse me, that Superman, he's fucked up everything. Yeah. That's I mean, I said it in our Snyderverse thing. That's my big problem with the DCU is no one feels like themselves. Like that bit in Man of Steel when Zod throws like a truck at him and he just floats over it and lets it destroy a building.
Yeah, it's not very Superman-y.
Yeah, no, but in this, it's very clear that they thought of every sort of consequence related to an event of that, like on that scale happening. And as they said, we find out then that if you were in a house that you didn't have before the blip, like say I was living in this flat, people who lived in this flat got blipped, and then 2 years after the snap, I'm in here for 3 years. They just come back one day. I just was like, well, you're out in the street, and and you have to assume as well in that time they knocked down a lot of houses to build shelters and things like that, because otherwise they wouldn't have just kept all these houses up to lie empty unless you're in Ireland. That's some political satire.
Nice.
Always taking shots at Fine Gael and Fianna Fáil.
Well, you should wear your fuck Fine Gael t-shirt.
It's in the wash. Had it on the other day. Had it on the other day. It's in the rotation. It's like once every 2 weeks.
Fair.
But yeah. So the guy just sort of says to Sam, he's like, look, I know what you're trying to do, but it's not going to work. And then, as we said, everyone's just actively running away from them when they're there. Except for Zemo. Zemo walks over to a bunch. He starts singing.
At this point, I was like, Zemo, you understand what you're doing here, but you're so creepy, bro.
Yeah, like he walked over to a bunch of kids who were playing, and he just starts singing "Ba Ba Black Sheep," but like very like sinister.
Like very slowly.
Really creepy.
Like he was taking about like 4 beats in between each word, and I was like, no, I'm not letting my child anywhere near you.
That's the thing, though, right? Because they had a little hopscotch thing set up. If I'm there, because he's realised what he's done is he's got a bag of sweets with him, and he's realised that if he can, bribe the children with sweets, they'll tell him what's going on with this Donya woman. But if I'm there, I see the hopscotch thing set up, I'm going to go and be like, can I have a go? Hey, fucking look at hey, yeah. So if that woman, what's her crack? Do you want me to go again? Right, there we go. There's a sweetie. Instead, he just walks up really creepily, like he's going to.
You think you're not only going to complete a hopscotch once, Jake, but you are going to have enough energy to go back and do it again.
I'll do it 3 times to prove you wrong.
Right.
Listen, I might be clumsy as fuck, right? But see, when I'm concentrated, my balance is perfect. When I'm not concentrated, I could be fucking taken out by anything. But totally sober, 8 hours of sleep, nice hearty breakfast, I'll do 4.
Oh, 4 now, not even 3.
Aye.
All right, guys, leave in the comment section if you want us to record Jake doing 4 hopscotches. Put your bets on if he actually makes it or not.
Do it, and you'll look silly on the internet, which is a fate worse than death.
I'll take that, honestly.
But aye, so
your man starts giving them Turkish delights, but not even good sweets. Turkish delights.
Oh, right. Hold on a second.
If you're about to tell me you like Turkish delights,
I will say this. I'm only going to say it once. The normal sort of powdered Turkish delights, hit or miss. But you wrap them boys in chocolate, that's a god tier snack. I'll die on that hill. I will die on that hill. I get why Edmund was so easily manipulated by the Queen in Narnia, because she was like, "Homie, you want some sweets?"
to be fair, yeah.
But so he
magical ice queen offered me sweets to do some bad stuff, I'd probably be like, okay.
Like sweets? Yeah, that's all you had to say. It was literally the last word I said. It was all you had to say.
But so he learns where the funeral is, and then he's like, and then again, like you're saying, a bit where every time you think he's doing something wrong, he's doing something bad, he actually turns it around. And so here he's like, okay, that's our little secret. Don't tell those guys. And I'm like, oh no, what's he doing? What is he doing? But
then
leverage. I'm like, that's clever, you know.
Yeah, because it turns out that he like knows. Yeah, it's just because I think he knows that if anything goes wrong, he's very likely to just be papped off back to prison. So he's if I can find this out on my own, out with you, you still need me, and if I can help you complete this mission, maybe you'll turn the other cheek if I just run away into the darkness.
Which is what I hope happens. Because I really want him to keep showing up randomly. Every time there's a nightclub scene, he's just in the background dancing.
Oh man, we didn't even talk about his moves.
We didn't even talk about that, but like, I'm gonna. The only vibe I got from it was very much. 2 seconds. It was very much. Where is it? The club is bumping, the ladies look good, the alcohol is flowing. There is much pain in the world, but not in this room. That's all that was going through my head when I was watching. I was like,
now you said that. That reminds me of have I ever showed you the video of Mike Skinner for the streets? I know that's not very specific, but if I'd shown you, you'd know. There's this video before a gig, and he's like talking about Peter Mandelson in the 80s when he was just like coked out his nut and like went a bit nuts, because he went fucking nuts in like the 80s and early 90s. I'll send you after this, but he's just like talking to an interviewer and he's like, man, Peter Mandelson, that's a guy. He just proves you can come back for anything. And then he just like start hearing voices telling like fucking do mad shit, like kill Tony Blair, but like he came back from it, so it's cool. And then like he's talking at the interviewer's mic here, and then without missing a beat, he just turns onto this one and just starts singing "Turn the Page" and walks on stage. It's incredible. It's absolutely phenomenal. But, oh man, Zebo's moves were unmatched.
Unbelievable.
But so we go back to the nice gaff, and we find out there's a memorial service going on. But Sam says he wants to go on alone to talk to her one-to-one, because if he shows up with Bucky, that's, even though Bucky is now deprogrammed, she doesn't know that.
It's a bit of a, yeah.
If he shows up with Bucky, it looks like he's showing up for a fight.
Yeah. Whereas if he, just a normal dude, walks up to like this super soldier, she's not going to be like, he's here to fight. She's going to be like, I'm going to fuck this dude up.
Yeah, and then so they have this like really, before he gets there, they're met with Lamar and Walker.
I can't remember how they meet. Like,
They're just on the street and they walk up to them like you thought you'd get away with it, and they're like, shit, how'd you work it out? And then I really like Lamar because like whilst Walker's being an arsehole, Lamar's just like, I mean, two Avengers, you were just kind of walking around Latvia, so
it wasn't hard.
We kind of found out about it on the internet. Because I love that. Because like Walker
was the audience character. He's just like, it's like
Walker walks up like ready for a fight. He's like, you thought you could run forever, and then they're like, how'd you find us? And you're like, you're Avengers. Come on. You know how we found you.
In the MCU, there's 100% at least like 10 different Twitter accounts called like Avengers Watch. They just tweet like every time an Avenger is spotted.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, listen, people fucking do it for like movie sets, or like they just be like shit like
people do it for the Avengers actors. Never mind the actual Avengers.
Yeah,
so.
Or shit, it's shit like you could see a tweet that's like I don't know why Plan B's came to mind, but that was just like Plan B spotted in Glasgow. Maybe he's making another movie. Maybe he's just up for the weekend. Who knows? That's like tweets that actually happen. So are you telling me if the Avengers existed for real, I'd be tweeting it. If I was walking about, right?
I'm in Scotland and I see like what if I was in Edinburgh and I saw Wanda and Vision, I'd be tweeting. I'd be like, "Hey yo, that fucking robot Avengers here with the underage Russian child. What the fuck are they doing?"
If I was cutting about and I saw like Sam Wilson just cutting about Glasgow, I'd be like, "There he is. That is the Falcon. That's him." I'd be like,
Wanda, this is the thing I was thinking about this the other day. Wanda is literally like fucking like 19 years old or something. Like Wanda's still a fucking child.
Aye, but Vision's like 3 years old, so
that's true. Vision's even younger.
But yeah, I'd walk up to Sam, like, can we get a selfie? Like, you do this, and then I would tell him the bad news. Unlike the guy at the bank, I'd make sure I got this one first. That's the one. That's the one you're putting on Instagram.
You get me to that, and then you turn around and go, by the way, I prefer Bucky, and then you run.
Aye, like if you get this, that's the one for Instagram. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's the one you get.
You tag him as well, and you know he'll comment because he's all about.
Oh, he's a man of the people.
Exactly.
And he's not a man of the people that's too big to comment. Like Steve wouldn't have the time to reply to every comment.
But Sam does because
it's
Sam
like
fans. So
aye, Sam, like Steve loves all his fans, but there's too many.
People search on Instagram Black Falcon, not just Falcon. That's the problem. That's not me being racist, by the way. That's a joke from like 2 episodes ago.
That make you black kid. I love that. It's so good. But so Walker and Lamar find them, and they sort of reveal that they're on their way to the memorial. And Walker's like, "Nah, we're going in hot," and he's like, "No, you're not. I'm going to talk to her like a person because that's what's going to work." And he's like, "So you're going in there unarmed?" He's like, "Yeah, I'm going in there unarmed." She's like 18. She's a kid. She's scared. I'm going to go talk to her. And Walker, in true American fashion, is like, I think we should shoot the unarmed child.
100%, yeah. He just goes straight up. Let's think about what I did in Iraq.
Yeah, he's just like, what? He's like, if I am Captain America, what would Captain America do? The right thing? Right, okay, sorry. What would Captain America do? Kill him. There we go.
Kill some children and then try and take the oil out their cars.
I'd be like, and I'm 90% sure the actor that plays Carly Morgenthau is mixed race. So
yeah, she's half Irish, half African.
Yeah, so he's like, boom, I know what to do. See that mixed girl? We're gonna kill her.
Yeah. Oh, there's an ethnic minority here. Dead.
Yeah, exactly. He's there like he's like, not what Captain America do. What would Captain America do? And at that point, he's like, well, time to crack a few skulls.
Crack a few underage skulls.
Time to crack a few racially diverse underage skulls. Oh man.
Time to crash some skulls that'll make me a fucking racist.
Time to do some things.
From skull cracking.
Time to do some things that'll get a statue of me pulled down in 30 years.
Oh god.
Oh, anyway. Back on track. So he says to Sam, he's like, I'm not letting you go in there. And Sam goes, like, just give me Just give me 10 minutes. Give me 10 minutes. You go in, and we'll if you just let me go in, give me 10 minutes.
And then come save my ass.
Yeah. If it's not done in 10 minutes, then, you know, do what you want. So they're all waiting in this, like, in the like a wee hall outside. Yeah, like a wee boiler room. And Zemo gets handcuffed to the boiler. At this point, I was like, oh, don't do that. He's been a good boy. But obviously, Walker and Lamar don't know that. Anyway, Sam goes in, has this conversation with her. And it's like really... I mean, she starts talking about like how, you know, one day millions of people were just forced out their home they've been living in for however long because everyone came back. All this money is going to rehousing and, you know, making sure everyone who was gone for 5 years is okay, but none of this money is going to
the people who had to live through that shit.
Yeah, exactly. There was what I was going to say earlier, but the teacher, there was one point he said, overnight countries that kept me out with barbed wire were welcoming me in to help rebuild, and now it's back to the same. And just you really do feel for them here because, you know, they've got a point. They do have a point.
They do, like 100%. For 5 years, or was it 5 years?
Yeah,
the
5
world
years.
was completely like one. They were united. They were like, okay, do whatever you want, go wherever you want. Just try and
help make things better than they are right now.
And just help.
And then
everybody comes back, and they're all just like, hey, well, we just go back to mindless fucking tribalism and hating each other.
Yeah, and everyone went, you know what? I bet. Cool. And like that was it. So he's having this conversation with Carly, and it's like the scene was like really, really, really well done and like really emotional. And then Walker's like, I've not heard anything. And I think Bucky says it's only been like 8 minutes. He's like, I don't care. And he's like, you said you give him 10. Give him 10. And then he's like, nah, put him away. And I'll go. Bursts in. And then at this point, Carly's like, all right, so you were just trying to stall so the backup could get here. And you can just clearly see Sam. That's what I love about Anthony Mackie is he's got such good facial expressions. He just turned around and he's like, you can just see him being like, are you fucking kidding me on? It's so good. Then
I really thought he was actually just going to go and like punch Walker. Like I thought he was just going to be like, nah, fuck you, bro.
Yeah,
just
and then
like floor him.
Because I kind of thought that's what would get, like a fight between them, which then gives Carly a chance to escape. But so what happens after this? I kind of blank on because there's obviously a lot of good fighting. But
it starts running. She like I'm sure she kicks Walker into Bucky or something and then runs away, and then they start chasing her. They kind of lose her, and then Bucky
we flash back and see that Zemo has also got out his handcuffs.
Yeah, Zemo's got out his handcuffs and he's off doing bad boy stuff, and then yeah, Carly's like running through this building and Zemo shows up and somehow has another gun and just pops her again.
That's it, yeah.
She falls, and all the the serum that she was holding falls all over the floor, all the vials and everything. And Zemo's like, "Yo, is this
what I think it is?
Like trying to destroy right here?" And he just stomps on every fucking one he can see. And then, does he run then? I can't remember.
No. He stays because they all go back to the apartment after. They all go back to the house.
Well, not quite, because John walks in and he sees one that's...
So they all come in. Yeah, John finds one that's rolled away and he just grabs it and pockets it.
Carly gets away, by the way. She isn't dead. She gets away.
Yeah.
She might be shot, but she's Gucci.
She gets off. And then John sees one serum, picks up for himself. And see, at this point, this is when I thought it was going to end. But I didn't realise we were only 20 minutes in because everything felt so good. I didn't realise we were only halfway through the episode.
And the way they like shot him like picking it up, looking at it and stuff, I was like, that's how you film the end of an episode. That's very like somber and stuff. I was like, that's how you end it.
Like as well, the fact that they filmed them, I'm not going to go into the whole ins and outs of cinematography and all that, but like the fact that they filmed him from such a low angle when he was looking at it to then sort of symbolise to you that he now thinks he can become a god, essentially.
Yeah, it's really good. It's because that's what he's holding. He's holding this thing that's stopping him from being Captain America in his eyes. It's what's holding him back from actually doing what he should.
Yeah. So I thought this was where the episode was going to end, but we had more.
We go back to we go back to the nice place with everyone, Zemo, Bucky, Sam, Walker, and Lamar. And then they're sitting having a wee conversation, and who rocks in?
Is this before or after she phones Sam's sister?
I'm sure the fight's before, then she phones Sam's sister, and then they meet up again.
Right.
That's how it happens.
Yeah, so they're back at the house. And as they're all like talking about like you messed up, you know, this is all because of you, blah blah blah. The Dora Milaje show up for Zemo.
Worst.
And then it all kicks off. I mean, Bucky tries to talk them down. Well, Sam starts trying to talk them down, and then Walker gets in their face, and then instigates.
It's just like, you don't have jurisdiction here, says Captain America in Latvia.
And then she says, Dora Milaje have jurisdiction wherever we go, and you can't stop us, pretty much. Then a big fight starts, and Sam turns to Bucky, and he's like, Bucky, say something. And Walker's getting his ass kicked, and he just goes, John, man, you're looking real strong.
That's really good, yeah.
I think he's just there like having a whiskey or something. He's just like...
He's just like leaning against the bar, just like, yeah.
He's like, on you. You're looking good, mate. On you go. But then they get involved. And as I mentioned at the start, there's one bit in this which I found amazing. Oh yeah, because what it is, one of them throws their spear at Walker and like pins his arm to the ground, holding the shield.
Pins it like right through the shield, which I was like, oh, the aim on that, Jesus.
Yeah. And then one of them like goes to fucking stab him through the head, pretty much. She goes to kill him, and then that's when Bucky and Sam step in. And there's this really good bit, as I mentioned at the start. There's a callback to a scene at the beginning when Bucky's there with one arm and Io's trying to make sure he's no longer the Winter Soldier, and he just looks so powerless. There's a bit when he's fighting Io specifically, and she's punching him, but she keeps missing. It's a bit like in WandaVision when Wanda misses Agatha with like at the end, she like keeps trying to hit him, but she's hitting his arm, and he's like kind of putting it in the way to stop it, and then she hits it like 4 or 5 times, and then it just falls off. It just hits to death.
It was so weird. Like when I was watching it, I was actually as shocked as Bucky when it fell off. I was like,
yeah, like I
could do that.
She's clearly like hit the fucking password, I guess, to knock it off. And then it just has this moment when they look at each other, and like it does, you know, it does. It's not a massive like blatant remember at the start, but
yeah, but
the power dynamic comes back there immediately.
And as well, especially about this, you know, so loads of folk on Twitter being like, "Oh, it's so terrible. This just shows that the Wakandans never trusted Bucky." Why would the Wakandans trust Bucky? He is this random dude they've never met before who gets brought in by some fucking neo-Nazi white guy-looking dude who's actually a good guy, apparently. And then he comes in and you get told, oh, by the way, he's actually got assassin programming in his brain that you guys are going to have to figure out how to stop. They finally do that. And then they're like, you know, there's a decent chance this guy isn't actually cured yet. Why would they trust him?
Yeah. But also, like, I don't even think it was that, because they told him, you've got 8 hours, then we're taking Zemo back, so get what you need done. And he's like, okay, that's good with me. And then they get there. Walker gets in their way. They try to take out Walker, which is fair enough. And then Bucky and Sam go, right, listen, could we maybe stop that? And then, like, it all just sort of descends into madness.
But while all the madness is going on, your man, Zemo, he goes out under the bathtub. He's like, I'm out here.
So this is what I thought, right? So he goes out between 2 doors, and then he locks them. And I was like, so he just walked out the front door. Has no one noticed this man like walk from like the back of the room to the front door? And then I saw there was like Lamar.
I'm sure at the point when he does that, actually, Bucky's still just like leaning against the bar, and I'm like, how have you not watched this, man?
Then I think because I was like, it's at the front door, and then I see like Lamar. I think it's Lamar's fighting like at the front door, and I was like, oh, okay, so it's because he locks it. So I was like, so it's somewhere else in the house. It's not like into like the kitchen or the dining room or something because they don't have locks. And then we find out after the fight that he went into the bathroom and just got out down like the drain under the bath. There's an escape tunnel. I don't understand.
What kind of baths just have like a street drain completely under them? Like,
in
what kind of baths are they building in Riga?
In the Zemo household, you've always got to have an escape plan.
That's true, I suppose. Actually.
He's probably like I imagine all of his houses have like weird tunnels somewhere.
Probably, actually, I never even thought about that.
Yeah,
Imagine it's an Airbnb though, and he's just like invaded their closet.
He's just hoped for the best. He's like, fucking, please.
He phoned up the Airbnb guy, and was like, "Yeah, does it have a secret tunnel?"
That's a bit of a deal breaker, fella. In the off chance, highly trained. In the off chance that like highly trained royal guard from a reclusive African country begin to fight a man with robo wings, the new Captain America, a man with robo arm, and the new Captain America's wee pal. Is there a way out that's not a window? Because that's too cliche, and I'm all about I've got a flair for the dramatic. And a window's played out, and the first guy's like, "Nah, I've no way." And he's like, "Fuck you!" Right, on to the next one. Right, Phil, that's gonna be a strange request. I know.
That's how I hope it went anyway. Like they're on the plane, but Sam and Bucky are on the plane, like just chatting to each other, and Zima's just on the phone, like speaking Sokovian, and everybody's like, "What's he talking about?"
No, he's like,
just they're like, "Need an escape route, guys."
No, he's in the bathroom, and he's just like, "Right, listen, do you hear me? Right, listen, I can't. Listen, I know I'm whispering. Fucking leave it. Right, listen to me." So yeah, after that, then I think, I thought this was before the fight, but now that I think about it, it definitely wasn't. We see Sam's sister. She gets a phone call, and it's Carly. And Carly says, "Look, I believe Sam wanted to help me, but something happened. So I'm phoning you to arrange a meeting between us." She's like, "Why are you phoning me?" And he goes, "Well, because so he knows I'm serious. I'm not going to do anything to you, but if Sam fucks me over again, maybe our next meeting will be at your house in Louisiana. Maybe with," if she says the two nephews' names, and she's like, "maybe with them present. Maybe out behind the back of the house next to the dock. Just tell Sam."
She's literally the phone call, and I was like, "Ooh."
Yeah. And she's like, "Just tell Sam that we need to meet." Then the sister phones Sam, and Sam's like, "Right, well, she's threatening my nephews. We need to fucking find out where she is." She says, "Come alone." Bucky won't let him go alone. He shows up with Bucky. And this is the point, to me, where I think Sam fucked up. Because I think Sam could have... I know that Walker showed up in the end, right? But I think Carly would have been much more receptive, because she's quite icy at the start of this conversation. It goes on for, 3-4 minutes. And the first, 2 minutes of it, she's very icy towards Sam. And I think that's because Sam showed up in his Falcon outfit. Sam showed up ready to go.
With a wing.
Yeah, he showed up with a... Because, see if that's me, and I'm in Carly's position. And I'm like, "Right, you need to come alone. I don't want to fight, I just want to talk." He shows up with Bucky, I'll be like, "You know what, actually, I can understand that, because, I can understand why he'd be here. That's fair enough." But... And also Bucky showed up in his blue jacket with the one arm. They showed up ready for a fight.
Yeah.
You know what it is? There's a wrestler called Pac who wrestles in AEW, and it's a bad guy. He's got long hair, and his hair's always soaking wet whenever he's on camera. So he looks more menacing and evil. It's all down over his face and shit. So you never see him as a guy with his normal hair tied up, just how Benjamin, as his real name is, would be walking about. You always see him as Pac, full on hair, but he's also never wearing clothes. He's always in his gear. He's always in trunks and kick pads. So when it was announced, when it was announced that he was going to debut for AEW at their first ever press conference, he interrupted it. As well, he lives in Newcastle. He's from Newcastle. Interrupted this press conference in Jacksonville, Florida, in full gear, trunks, knee pads, boots, hair all soaking, ready for a fight. That's what Sam and Bucky showed up as.
Oh, definitely. Yeah,
Sam and Bucky showed up as the wrestlers every week who are just in their tights backstage, giving an interview, and they're like, "Oh, well, I don't have a match tonight." And then someone mysteriously walks over and goes, "Well, I'm also in my gear without a match tonight. Do you want to fight?" They showed up like that. They brought it on themselves.
Basically. I mean, understandable though. Your man, she did threaten the only family the guy's got. So I can understand where he's coming from, but maybe he wasn't clever. I think maybe one or the other. If he showed up with Bucky, that's fine. If he showed up with the wings, that's fine. But showing up with the wings and Bucky,
One
Yeah,
too many
like
of them.
if you show up with the wings and Bucky, you're just pretty much saying, right, well, now we're gonna.
You might as well just walk up with like a gun in each hand and be
Yeah,
like,
you
so
may
I'm here to talk.
you may as well just walk up and be like, what's going on then? What you saying? What you saying? It?
Just walk up and go, yeah. I'll give you a text when I won that drone strike. Yeah. So as we're saying, Carl,
Just walking up, just like broomsticking, just like, so you want to talk, eh? Whore.
so about your granny, eh?
Just like throwing ghost uppercuts and shit. But aye, so they start talking and it's beginning to go well.
No, before this actually, I was about to mention, there's a wee scene with Lamar and Walker in what looks like an airport, and they're just sitting talking, and then Walker asks Lamar, if you were offered the serum, would you take it? And your man's like, yeah, of course, 100%. And then Walker's just sitting there very solemnly thinking for like about a 10-second camera pan, and then at some point then he's taken it. He's down that serum.
Is there also not a bit in it where it's when Sam's talking to Carly, and Carly asks Sam if he would take it, and he's like, no, because I don't want to play God and choose if I can become, this like God of a man. I don't want to do that. I just want to be me. There's like a bit like just after it which parallels it when like Sam's asked if he would take it, and he's like, of course not. Like, I want to.
Is that not just before? Is that not when at the funeral?
Oh, it might be. I know there is a bit though when like they have that conversation about it. So then as they're like walking before they start talking as well, Sharon pops up on his little wrist boy, and she's all, I've got a track on Walker. He is coming. He's found you. He's on his way. So then as well, we've got the opening of it with like Carly being quite icy to them because he's just showing up ready for a fight, and we also know that it's a race against time with Walker showing up. And then we get this, the closing like 10 minutes were absolutely incredible.
So good. Oh, unbelievably. I had no idea at the start it was going to end the way it did. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So Walker shows up and just immediately on site.
Bucky, no. Like as soon as Sam says Walker's like, as soon as like they hear Walker's on the move, Bucky's like, I got this, and he starts to move, and then Carly just like jumps down from the ledge she's on and just like knees Bucky. What's he doing?
Oh yeah, she gets him out of midair. Yeah, I forgot she just takes him out of midair. She just snipes him.
How is that helpful in any way?
Yeah. Aye, and then just it's on site. It just starts popping off. Everyone's fighting.
Everybody's just fighting everybody at that point.
Yeah. And what I love about this is my favorite thing about the dynamic building up to this, and obviously it was building up to what happened in the end. But you see, Sam's fighting. He's got the wings. Like someone gets him from behind, and he like turns on like the jet on it to like push them back. Bucky is, he's got a fucking massive robot arm that can punch through walls. And Walker has now taken the serum. But then we just see Lamar fighting, and Lamar's fighting like two super soldiers, and he's barely holding his own. That's what I like about this. Is like Lamar's getting his licks in. It's very clear that he's a competent fighter, but he's fighting a super soldier, and he's the only one without some sort of I nearly said gimmick. Yeah, without some sort of like something with him. And as the fighting's going on, when then see like Lamar gets like knocked out, or they go into a building. He's like,
they're like John and Lamar are, despite the fact that he's literally like Captain America, they're still moving through like they're fucking Delta Squad. They're like moving through fucking with guns, checking corners and stuff. Like, you're Captain America, bro. That ain't what you do. You just barge in there with your shield and hit off folks' heads.
Yeah. So they're going through it, and then like Lamar gets caught and tied up. And there's a bit where they're going through this building because they've been separated and Lamar's been got. And like Sam's like fighting on a staircase with someone, and then like John just like throws this guy through a wall, and Sam
just,
looks,
he just kicks him clean over Sam's head, and I'm like, that's when I was like, oh, he's taking it.
Yeah,
like he's beefy boy now.
Yeah, and then Sam just looks at him, and he's like, what have you done? What did you do? And he's like, no time, they've got Lamar. So immediately brushes over it. They go to find Lamar. Lamar's all tied up. He's cutting himself out. Big old fight happens in the room with Lamar. It's like 4-on-8, but then everyone's getting their licks in, except for Lamar, who R.I.P. to the homie.
It's just
he
how
gets.
does it just somebody shoot him? I can't remember.
He gets stabbed.
No. Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he gets stabbed, and this was the point as well. Where I realised that even though is it not?
He gets hit. He gets hit, and then he gets thrown back into like a thing.
He does. Aye. Oh, that's what it was. That's what it was. They made such a big deal out of him with his knife that I thought something was. That's what it is. There's so many shots on his knife that's just tied to my mind. But yeah, I know he gets hit and he goes flying into a pillar, smacks his head, dies. And then we see something change in Walker. Walker's just nuts now. Yeah. So as the Flag Smashers sort of see that as an opportunity to peel off, and they'll go to check on Lamar, realise that he's dead, and then he's like, right, well, I'm done. See you later. I'm gone. Jumps out the window, superhero lands on an old VW bus, explodes it to fuck, and then starts chasing them. And they all like peel off, but he's just going after one guy.
It isn't even the guy that killed him as well.
No,
it's
just a guy. It was the guy. It's that thing. You don't, when you're outrunning a bear, you don't need to outrun a bear. You just need to outrun someone. He was just closest to Walker in this state. So they go into like the town square. And does he throw the shield at him? He was like flying onto like these steps, or does he like fall? I don't know. But he ends up on these steps, and Walker just starts like frisbeeing the shield off his head from like 6 feet away. Which
and then he gets a bit closer.
Which should have killed him. Let's be honest. That the frisbee and the shield from 6 feet should have been enough.
Yeah, because it's like it's a solid chunky metal. That's gonna hurt, bro.
Aye. And he doesn't like. No, I think he like frisbees it off his back at first. That's a broken back. I don't care if you're a super soldier.
You know.
All right, okay then. Regardless if you're a super soldier or not, frisbeeing a vibranium shield off your temple like 3 times, you're not going to stiff that. So then he gets there and he just starts laying into him, and your man's pleading for his life, but then he just goes, nah, fuck you, grabs the shield and just
decapitates the man. Like, that's all I can imagine. You don't see it, obviously. That's all I can imagine happened, is that he just took his head off.
See, I that's what I thought, but then he keeps going back, so I think he's probably just
Nah, it takes a few hits to go through a neck, bro, unless you've got like a clean blade.
Suppose
it's hard.
Suppose. Do you know from experience,
I was an executioner in my previous life.
Ah, cute. But I know he's just properly, and you see as well, like his face just change, and Sam and Bucky run round the corner to see this. Sam, bro, that's your one thing. That's your thing. Yeah. Your whole thing is that you ain't got to run, and he runs round the corner with Bucky. And then they see it happening.
But it's and then it's just silent, and there's like a massive crowd of people. They're all like taking videos and stuff, and you see Carly in the crowd. She's watching, like, yo, what the fuck has just happened? And then it's he stands up. He's got the shield on, and it's just caked in blood. And what a symbol, eh?
Yeah, and that is. I mean, as we said, we thought that John taking the serum would have been the end of the episode. But this, as a finishing point, Jesus Christ. Absolutely love this episode. Absolutely love that thing. Best episode yet for me.
Same, 100%. Action non-stop. It was so good. What do you think it's going to play out? Where do you think it'll pick up on Friday?
I'm not sure. I really don't, because the stuff with John could go either way. I can see. I don't know. I can see us leading to Carly having a change of heart and helping Sam and Bucky stop him, and I can see her maybe like trying to make contact with them, but it's tricky because Walker is everywhere because he's Captain America. I can see that, but I don't know where it's going to go with Walker or with Zemo either.
I think one of two things might happen. I think it's either going to pick up right from where it left off, and Sam and Bucky are going to walk up to Walker and be like, "Mate, you need to get the fuck out of here right now. Like, just leave. We don't give a shit. Just get out of here before we kill you."
Yeah.
And then Walker leaves, and then they go over. They like obviously they leave it a wee minute, and then they go with Carly, and then the next 20 minutes is them trying to formulate something going on. Or it's like a week later, Sam and Bucky, the whole thing has been pinned on Sam and Bucky. They're in prison. Walker's been like praised for his heroic actions abroad and everything, and then Zemo has to break Sam and Bucky out of prison.
Yeah, I could. Yeah, well, this is one of the few times I have no idea of what might be happening. I think both of them are very plausible. I think in terms of where it's going to pick up, I feel like it's going to pick up in the immediate aftermath of it, like right there.
The way it was left, I feel like if they don't, it's a missed opportunity.
Or maybe even not like right there, but the same day.
It might pick up. Like, I could see it being like they're in like the first. I could see the first shot literally just being the Shield again, but it's like down at Walker's legs, and they're like in the back of a Jeep or something, and they're driving away.
Yeah, or like even like Walker is on a base somewhere, trying to, and like it's very clear that he's gonna get away with it because he's Captain America. He is the symbol, something like that. Yeah. But I feel like it's going to. I mean, obviously, it's going to pick up in the aftermath. Saying it's going to pick up after this is a bit of a fucking dumb point, but I think it's going to pick up like immediately after. Even if the rest of the episode is set.
This is when Marvel fuck us, and it's the whole episode is just flashbacks, and we're like, well.
But I think like even if like the actual meat of the episode happens, you know, a week or so later, I don't think they can start this episode anywhere but like right after. But no.
It could even. You know what would be a good opening for it actually? Is it just opens like a news show and they just talk about it like it's been reported on the news. Or maybe get a better anchor this time. But yeah,
maybe,
just talking about
maybe get someone with a bit of charisma.
Has recently been photographed in Latvia, and then it just cuts to like the video footage of someone in that square just seeing John behead the man, and like see how the public reacts to that. So.
Wherever it picks up, it's going to be interesting. Here's my question now. Obviously, I think after all the red herrings they threw us with Zemo in the last couple of episodes, every time it looks like he's doing something to fuck everyone up, it always turns out good. I don't think Zemo is going to, at least now, come back and be an antagonist for this. Because I know it looks like he's fucked off and he's left them, but John ended that by decapitating a man with a shield. And everything Zemo stands for is getting rid of super soldiers.
Exactly.
So
and there's no super soldier more prominent in the world at the moment than Captain America, right? So
yeah, I think
his whole shtick now, isn't it?
Yeah, so I
even though he hates Bucky, obviously he hates everything Bucky is, but he can't exactly do anything.
I like
Bucky for.
I quite like the dynamic between him and Bucky in this episode because he hates because it's quite clear that he actually doesn't mind Bucky, but in his head he's like, but he's still a super soldier. I hate him.
He hates what Bucky is rather than Bucky himself. Yeah.
But now, like Walker, is very clearly just a bad man, and that's Zemo. Like, will want rid of him. So I think we'll probably be seeing Zemo as an ally for the rest of this season. I think maybe we will get something where they let him free to live out his life, and he's in the shadows, being not necessarily evil, just being a bit sneaky. And every now and then they're like, "Hi, oh."
Who do you think? Do you think they'll bring in the Power Broker at some point? Because they're kind of like
they have to.
They keep after episode 3 they brought him up, and then they brought him up again in episode 4, and it's like this is a side character we've just gotten the name of at this point. If they've given us twice, they need to bring him in at some point. You know what I mean?
Have to.
And they were hoping there's going to be like a cameo in this, and I was like, well, and it would be a new character, and I was like, well, the only new character they've mentioned is the Power Broker.
Yeah, so it's got to be because we forgot to mention in episode 4. Carly does receive a text from the Power Broker that says,
I can't remember if this is before or after Zemo smashes all the vials, but
it's after he smashes them because he says you're going to return them or I'll kill you, and then she's just like, oh well, great, Captain America's after us. We've lost all the
They're
serum.
right,
We've lost all the serum, and now the power broker wants me dead. Because that's the thing as well. We can't even like fantasy cast the power broker, which we love to do, because all we know is that he exists in this universe, and that
I could see him pulling like out of left field, and the power broker the whole time has actually just been Sharon. I wouldn't like it.
I wouldn't like it.
I could see him doing it.
But if that's the case, why would she want so desperate to get so bad to get back to America? If she is the power broker and she has all this power, surely she can forge documents for herself.
She hasn't mentioned at any point she wants to get back to America. Anytime she says, "Oh, America fucked me over," she's not like, "I want to go back." Everything sounds like, "Oh, do you want back?" She's like, "Nah, fam, leave it." So but the way that I interpreted her saying like leave it is her just saying, "Don't make promises you can't keep. Don't tell me you're going to get me back to then in a few months for me and go actually can."
yeah,
but like to me, it seems like maybe not that she wants to get
Wait,
back to America, but she doesn't.
Okay.
Maybe it's not that she doesn't want to get back to America, but she also doesn't want to live in the seedy underbelly of the criminal world and sell fake art for a living.
That's a good point. She doesn't want to do that for the next 40 years of her life.
Yeah, she doesn't want that to be her forever now. And so I don't think it would be her. Because that's the thing, who do I think would be a fun, charismatic, big final boss? Willem Dafoe, obviously.
Oh yeah, that would be.
Obviously, but that's the thing with the power broker. We don't know.
We don't know the character.
We don't know who it is. We could realistically say anyone. The power broker could be,
Meryl Streep.
To quote Cameron Tucker, Meryl Streep could be Batman, and it would be the right choice.
Yeah, I mean, well, I don't know about that. But...
No, because listen, I would love Meryl Streep, but she's got to be Professor X. You've put that in my brain.
She's going to be Professor X.
You've put that in my brain, and I need it. I'm just trying to think, who. After the boner joke, there's now a part of my brain that I've just thought about it. What if Peter Dinklage is the power broker, and they're like, haha, short man, most powerful man in world.
He's already been E-Tree, but they won't do that.
True.
He was in Infinity War.
True.
I mean, I suppose they could, but
Yeah.
I'd like it. I like that because Peter Dinklage is
Peter Dinklage is amazing. He's good. Yeah. But I also feel like if they do it, it might lose some of its punch if they. I'm not saying he couldn't pull it off. He could 100% pull it off, but it just depends. Right, will we just throw out 3 names then? Seeing as we know nothing about the power broker, 3 people you would like to see be the power broker, even though we know nothing about them.
Okay.
So I've got Willem Dafoe. I'll say Peter Dinklage, and I don't think he's been in the MCU. I'm 99% sure he hasn't been in the MCU. Joel Kinnaman.
Ooh, surely you'd want to keep him for more like a more action type role than like.
I don't know if you
Power Broker to me, I feel like that's going to be a bit more of like a behind closed doors.
But have you watched The Killing?
No.
It's a very, very good show. So it was one. I'm pretty sure it was one of the first Netflix originals, but it wasn't really because when Netflix were testing stuff, they started buying out shows that had been cancelled before their time and making that last season or 2 for the fans to test their own studio. They did that with The Killing. They bought the rights to The Killing and made season 3 and 4. It's no longer on Netflix, but it's on Disney Plus. And basically, he's this it's him and what's her name, Mariel Enos, the ginger girl woman. It's them 2, and they're 2 detectives up in Seattle, and there's a murder of the 17-year-old girl. She's found in the boot of, I think it's the mayor's running for re-election, and it's in his campaign manager's boot of his car. It's a whole thing. It's really good. But he is in it at once incredible. He looks really seedy because he's Joel Kinnaman. He's kind of dressed like Eminem in 8 Mile throughout it because it was filmed 2008 or something. So he just looks quite seedy and off. But everything he's doing's got a purpose. So when he is interviewing high school students when out with the hours of school. It does look weird, but he's like, actually, he didn't want to speak in school because they're doing. So I think in that, when he takes, because obviously he's great as Rick Flag, he's a big man, but I think having him as the power broker to be more like laid back and chilling, like actually shows what he can do as an actor properly. I think it'd be really good. But I think those three.
All right, fair enough. I don't know, to be honest. I've absolutely no idea. So I guess we'll just give you one, and it would be Matthew McConaughey.
Fair. Yeah, fair. That's fair.
Especially, we were talking about The Gentleman earlier, so he's kind of like stuck in my head.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fair.
Actually, Henry Golden, is he casting Eternals?
He might be. Let me check.
Eternals.
If he is, that is invalid.
Oh, there we go.
He is. He's got any upcoming projects? No, he's not.
No, he's not. But he's playing Snake Eyes. Oh.
Yeah, because maybe we talked about that in the we did our whole thing in the comic movies for City Live.
Did we? I can't remember.
We sort of brushed over it, but like because there's not much about it. But I think that's going to be really fun because it's.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, if they just use it as a chance to make a big dumb action movie, and not try and make it too smart.
It's going to be fun. Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, so I guess that's all we've got to talk about. We'll be back in a more prompt manner, not 2 weeks too late on an episode next time, hopefully. Well, now we've only got 2 days to wait until we find out. Hopefully, we find out who the power broker is. 2 days till the next episode to find out what's going on. And I'm really excited. I mean, that show's been so.
It just keeps getting better, man. I'm more hyped for every episode, which is. It happened with WandaVision, but I didn't think it'd happen again. But here we are. So
now Loki's got a. If they can make it 3 for 3 with Loki, which I think they will. I mean, it's Tom Hiddleston.
Loki's been one I've been most excited for anyway. So.
So I think for me, see, like when I first heard about WandaVision, I thought it was like going to be like with What If and like a sort of in canon but not canon, weird and dumb and stupid, and like I didn't realize WandaVision was actually going to be this fucking heart wrenching look at like mental health issues and the way that. And as well, kind of also in a way how America treats their veterans. Not as much as this one obviously is, but I saw someone making the comparisons with how, like the homelessness crisis within veterans to the fact and like the way that they're treated when they come back to the way that like Wanda was just brushed off to the side and Vision was experimented on and shit. True,
actually, yeah.
But yeah, man, Marvel they've really been going into themes that like we knew they had to go into eventually. But I didn't think they'd go this.
They're doing it in ways I didn't think they would. They're going a hell of a lot harder than I thought they would.
Well, look at the shit with Isaiah in episode 2.
Exactly.
And like the
100%. They didn't need to add him into the show. They could have not had him in, and it would have been just as good. Well, maybe not just as good, but the story beats would have been exactly the same. But they gave us that bit of insight into the universe, and it's so good.
Well, that's the thing. Like when we did the first episode of The Silly Dimension, we did like a sort of preview of it. And I mentioned how I think this is the perfect opportunity for them to look at the evils of the military-industrial complex and like the way it's wrong that America like holds their veterans on a pedestal, but then immediately forgets about them, all that shit. Like all the sort of general fuckery around the military in America. And we both I was like, they could do it, but they're probably not going to do it. And they've looked at like episode 2, and then you've got like a very candid look at the refugee crisis on the global stage. Like it's
not like this isn't even like it's not even like it's talking about like Sokovia, like people who were displaced from Sokovia or something that they talked about like a throwaway line a couple of years ago or something. This is like globally, they're like, yeah, people are fucked, bro.
Yeah, like they're really leaning into it. And I've seen a lot of people
basically Disney. However much you're paying your writers, it's not enough.
Yeah,
pay them more.
Or if you would like to pay me
exclusively the Disney Plus writers, exclusively those ones.
If you would like to pay me to come in and write a show, I'll do it.
We've got some good ideas. Are you listening to this?
It may be about why socialism's actually kind of lit, but That's just a risk you got to take.
They ask us to make a TV show, and we're just like, yeah, no problem. They're like, what character do we have? And they're like, oh, you get to choose. And we're like, so can we make a Miles Morales TV show, but he's a communist?
It's like, just give me Caleb McLaughlin's number. Caleb, brother, how you doing? Listen, so do you want to be Miles Morales? Do you want to be Miles Morales? Yeah. So yeah,
How do you feel
signed.
Like
No, I just feel like, so you've signed on for Miles Morales show. Yep, I'm the writer. Yep, so you're good. Yeah, I want to be Miles Morales. You get a Spider-Man movie down the line. Oh, cool, class. Anyway, it's going to be about communism. Love you, bye.
Yeah, that's how the phone call's going to go. Yeah, just give me Bob Iger's number, and I'll do that exact call, but to him. Is Bob Iger still the fucking head of, isn't he? I don't know.
Surely it falls under Kevin Feige's jurisdiction because he's now just the head of Marvel full stop.
That's true.
He's like the head of Marvel Comics and the head of the movies. So
yeah.
But so we'll
like he basically just wakes up and he'll like answer emails being like, so what do you think about superheroes? And he's like, and that's like his day.
Because I saw like apparently what they're doing with like the Thor comics now is there's like a big world ending event that's like coming to like.
Right.
Apparently, like I saw like it was around the time that he took over. It was just after he took over the comics. They started like mentioning bit by bit about this sort of like impending disaster coming for that Thor knows about. I think like Gore the God Butcher got fucking like left him in a heap, and it's just whatever's happening is making its way closer and closer to all of our main characters that we know and love. And a lot of people are theorizing that it's going to be like a sort of flashpoint world-ending event to just tie up the continuity, streamline it, and then we can just get on with Kevin Feige's vision for it all.
That's fair, I suppose. Yeah.
Yeah, but
just kind of like a soft reset.
Yeah. But yeah, so that's apparently what's happening in the world of real comics. But anyway, I guess we'll leave it here for now, unless we have any other insights on the horrors of the military-industrial complex or communism. I've got more insights on communism, but none that pertain to this.
Military-industrial complex, bad. Communism, good.
And thank you so much for listening.